Hello to all of my brothers, sisters, and siblings at Old St. Paul's Church in Baltimore. It is a real joy and a privilege to be with you in this way and to be able to just say a word about our hopes for the church and for the world. When I was serving in Baltimore, a man named Charles Marsh was working on a book that he later published that was on the spirituality and theology of the civil rights movement. The title of the book was Beloved Community. And in that book, at one point, he talks about certainly the early days of the civil rights movement and the theology that undergirded much of it. And at one point in the book, he said, and I quote, Jesus of Nazareth began the most revolutionary movement in all of human history, end quote. He was right. Jesus began the most revolutionary movement in human history. It was a movement of people who were committed to him and his way of life, his way of love, committed to his way reflected in the Beatitudes, blessed are the poor and the poor in spirit, committed to being people of the way, blessed are the merciful, the compassionate, blessed are those who hunger and thirst, that God's righteousness, God's justice might prevail and become real in all the earth. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. As you did it to the least of these, who are members of my family, you have done it unto me. People who were committed to this way of Jesus, his way of love. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, that you love one another. Committed to Jesus and his way of love. These people were part of the most revolutionary movement in all of human history. Their lives were changed and transformed by that, and they went out into the world to help to change it and to make a difference in it for it. It is an utterly remarkable and stunning story of the power of love, the power of what Jesus was calling us to. In Galatians chapter 3, Paul himself reflects this incredible power of love, this way of Jesus to create from the fragments of our humanity God's beloved community. He says, all who have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. There is therefore no longer any slave or free, no longer any male or female, no longer any Jew or Greek, for all are one in Christ. That was before that was before the Declaration of Independence. That was before the Gettysburg Address. That was before Martin King's I Have a Dream speech. That was before Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela. Before all of that, Paul, following in the way of Jesus and his love, saw the possibility of what we now call the beloved community, where all of God's children gather around the throne. That is the way of Jesus, the most revolutionary movement in all of human history, to take from our fragments of humanity and to create God's beloved community, the kingdom, the rule, the reign of God's love in the world. And I suspect that that's partially what Jesus told us to pray for and live for and work for when he taught us to pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for being a witness to the unconditional, overflowing, gracious, and expansive love of God that we have known in the Jesus of Nazareth and in his way of life. God love you. God bless you. And may God hold us all in those almighty hands of love.